Woo! Booze it now. Okay. So, let's talk for a little bit. I made some notes. So, for long-term channel viewers, don't worry, I'm still taking photographs and playing with my Leicas. The weather's poop outside, so I'm just chilling. I figured I'd give a quick my experience. I'm learning to woodwork, firstly, so follow along if you're a beginner and you want to learn some shit, learn from my mistakes, because I will make mistakes, and I have made mistakes, and I will continue to make mistakes. But I've had a couple of customer orders, and I see people posting their boards way cheaper than I can actually physically do it in my basement. And they say, no, I don't do a custom design. Well, congratulations, you just cut out half your market. So I figured I'd give a couple of tips on dealing with customers. It's pretty simple. One, be polite. If someone says, "Hey, I like your work, can you make me a board?" The answer is, yeah, of course. How big would you want it? First thing is size. Take photos of all your work, for sure. So you can actually give reference on what you've built. They've seen it probably, but so you can give reference on something. Be honest. I don't gouge people, and I can put up my costing, and it's my costing. I quoted a board for MP, which is the last two videos, which I'll link up here. I quoted a board for MP, and what I've started doing is actually using a board feet calculator to figure out my costs of how much wood I'm actually using. And then I charge for glue, I charge for milling, I charge for sanding, and I've got rough times on, it'll take me 3 hours to sand, 15 minutes to mill, and I charge, $10 an hour, so 15 minutes of milling, it's going to cost you $2.50. Not milling, sorry, routing costs $2.50. Like, I charge an hour for milling and like $10 for milling. Sanding is like 3 hours at $10. So, $30 worth for sanding. And I break down all of my costs and I use my incidentals, which is, shit like glue, shit like abrasives, stuff like that. I just charge an average price, Abranet for my Derios sander is, if you buy a big pack of it, it's going to cost you like $2.33 a sheet. So I'll charge a couple of sheets per job, just so I can, at some point go through and refill my stack. The last job I did for MP, I cut a bunch of wood and I gave her a bunch of references of stuff I've done. And then I cut a bunch of wood, ripped a bunch of thin wood, and I did a symmetrical design. It's up here. And she's like, "Oh, that's cool, but can you do an asymmetrical design or an asymmetric?" I'm like, "I can, but there's going to be a lot of back and forth between you and the customer. So one, be polite, be honest." All I did was put a piece of tape across, numbered the pieces 1 to 24, I think it was, and cut with a scalpel things, and gave them an image, went, "Here's your numbers, give me a number sequence." And she came back to me with a number sequence. So I rearranged the pieces in a number sequence, took a photograph, and she came back to me with another number sequence with a few different changes. Dink, photograph. And then finally she went, "Oh, this one piece here to there, done." Now, this is where communication is key. I always talk to my customers, and MP is not a member of staff, but someone I work with. So I'm like, "Hey, are you good with this design?" Get confirmation is basically my point. Are you good with this design? Because as soon as glue goes on, you can't change it. Make sure you get a consent. If it's someone you don't know, probably get a deposit as well, so you at least cover your materials. If they back out at any point, a non-refundable deposit. I will do that for people that I don't know. I'll get at least my material costs non-refundable. It's just my time and some incidentals if they back out, and I'll finish the board and I'll sell it to someone else. When it comes to routing, show profiles. If you do a round top, flat, round bottom, show it. If you can show photographs of this is round with a groove, this is round, groove, flat, show the profiles so your customer knows what they want. In this case, MP wanted a very shallow round on the bottom and square everything else. And I advised against it because square edges will get dents and they will get chips. But that's what she wanted. That's what she got. So it's fine. The board's in oil right now. There's a couple of other things, and one of them is behind me, the Pasco board, if you remember it, which is like right here. This bloody thing. That is actually in clamping calls right now, because even though it's done and I had to remill it, it warped on me like an absolute bugger. So I'm kind of screwed on that right now. I just wet the entire board, put it on clamping coals, and hopefully it'll flatten out. It actually bananaed on me, but that turd is killing me. Boards, don't store them flat. Straight out, and that's why that board bananaed. I left it on a flat surface rather than on an end where air could get to it, so it dried faster on one side than the other, so you end up getting a bow on it. So don't store your boards flat. It's a cardinal sin. Pick them up, put them on the side, or at least put them on, like, you know, if you've got those little painter's triangles, which I have for standing work when you're doing, just stand it on that, let the air get to it. The only problem with those painter's triangles is the top is very, very sharp. So if you move the board around, I did actually sand a couple of boards on those and I just got scratches on the board. If you're just standing on those, you're fine. Otherwise, put a piece of tape, put something to soften that edge, or just sand it or something. But air your boards. Don't leave them flat on the surface. You will fuck them up. That also goes for boards that have been oiled and waxed. I've got a board upstairs, which is going to a customer, which is now downstairs standing on its end. I left it on another board for a couple of days and it started to warp on me. So now I've got it downstairs, letting it reacclimatise and straighten out. So don't store shit. Advise your clients, if you can, to put feet on the boards. This will pick them up off of a surface. This will allow airflow. This will stop them warping as quickly. Boards might warp, but it will stop it. So advise feet for all of your clients if you can. If they don't really want feet because it takes it up too high, get some fours and bits, drill some holes and recess the feet, but at least have an air gap underneath that board. It will last longer and it's better for you, better for the client. Mineral oil, don't use it, don't like it. I prefer walrus oil, as you've seen in most of my other videos. The other thing is obviously tips to your client for aftercare of the board. Don't store it flat. I think we've covered that. Disinfecting it. That's 1 part vinegar, 3 parts water. Do that, and then you should re-oil your board. If they're not going to use the product that I'm using, which is fine, they can use mineral oil or whatever they want. Just make sure that you take care of your board and tell your client, your customer, your friend, whoever you're doing this board for, this is how you do it. And I think that's pretty much it. It's just like, be polite, be friendly, get a deposit if you need a deposit. But that's my learning so far. I'm building some more end grain cutting boards. I've got a 120 board feet of wood turning up at some point. So I'm going to make some more bigger, hopefully better boards. The last one I just built was 18 by 18 with a finger groove and rounded edges. It's a bloody monster. That one's sitting over there. But yeah, just be honest, be polite. You know, if you can't do it, like I just fucked up on a board which I had to do a fix on. You know, I'd oiled it and my customer came back and said, hey, can you laser engrave it? And I'm like, yeah, sure, fine. And I said, oh, I think doing it here on the edge. And I slipped with the engraver and the engraving came out bloody wonky. So I've had to make a plate to cover that to hide the mistake. Otherwise, I'm rebuilding a board, which I don't have the wood for right now. I'm out of walnut. I've got Padauk and I've got Purple Heart and Limber and Cherry, but I'm out of walnut, so I couldn't remake the board if I wanted to. So I've made a walnut plate, put it on the board, and done. If you've got questions, ask them in the comments below. Most of my tools are DeWalt. My slab flattening bit is from Woodpeckers. Ultra shear bits. The mill I'm using is woodpeckers. The oil I use and the wax I use is walrus oil. All of the other tools, you know, if you've got a question, ask, you know. And also, one of my big things, I obviously made a shroud which I need to put some plastic on for my chop saw. Wear a mask. I've been hacking. I don't wear a mask anywhere near as much as I should. Wear a fucking dust mask. Even though I've got a dust extractor, a 4-inch hose to a 1 horsepower dust extractor right next to my thing, and a shop vac, chop store still throws fucking shit everywhere. And I know that sometimes when I've got the little router out, I don't actually put a mask on. I bought an RZ mask. Not 100% sold on those, but I've got an RZ mask and I'm wearing that, so at least I'm not getting a bunch of crap in my lungs. Just be careful, because woodworking is dirty. And yes, I'm using a Merca Deros sander, which is dust free. But when I actually block sand, I forgot to put a mask on, which I should do because it's making a lot of fine dust and I'm sanding at 400, 600 grit at the end, or even 220 midway through. I should have put a mask on for that. I didn't. I fucked up. I'm stupid. What do you want? That's it. Any questions? Ask. I'm learning, so you know, there's going to be mistakes, and I'm happy to show my mistakes so you can learn from my mistakes. I've got a photo shoot tomorrow. I've got to go take some photos, so there'll be some more photo content coming soon. Peace. Take care.